Hansel, come here.
We added another member to the team. This is Hansel. He's super sweet and cuddly, and full of energy all the time. He was left in a box behind a dumpster with his siblings in El Paso. Someone found the box and brought it to our friend's vet clinic. We were thinking about fostering during the quarantine, but once we heard about this little guy, we knew it was meant to be. We bonsaied out to Texas to see our friends, and so Doofie and Hansel could meet. It's play, play, play all day long. We don't know what kind of dog he is. Definitely a mix of some sort. We're doing one of those DNA tests, so we should find out soon. Clean up. So, a while back, I posted this video, and you may be thinking, hey Ben, what the heck? You're gonna show us how you built your dog run. Oh, sorry. I mean, at the time, it wasn't even done yet. It was just a couple of boards thrown up so that way Doofie wouldn't bolt to the rest of the yard. I mean, I may still get back to it, showing some of the elements of the dog run, but I don't know, we'll see. Okay. But I am going to show you how I built this fence with the gate. This was never the long-term fence. We just needed something there. I had been thinking about what kind of fence I wanted to build here, and how. Then I realized that I should extend the dog run a bit into the brick area for a few reasons. It would be nice to have some solid surface area at this end to hang out. And it would also be nice to have a bigger dog run now that there's two puppers. Also, across from this white post is a bracket in the brick that would be great for securing the far side of the fence. Up until this point, I wasn't really sure how I'd secure it. First step was to clear everything out. The old fence had to go. Doofie could now test his jumping skills with something a bit more manageable.
Oh.
You're too silly. I also cleared out some of the stuff that had accumulated in the corner. After making a plan and purchasing materials, I got to work constructing the fence. All in all, it took about 5 hours in one day from start to finish to get it from nothing to fully functional. Everything is made with redwood, so it'll be able to handle the elements for quite a while. I started with the framing. One section was a box that spanned from the white post to the wall. It's pretty snug there. It's secured to the white post and the bracket in the ground on the right. The other section will have the gate. I knew how wide I wanted the gate to be and built the frame with that in mind. In order to secure it on the open end, I ran a post to the beam above and used an angle bracket to secure it at the top. Next step was to add the lattice. A full sheet of lattice didn't fully cover the 10-foot section of fence, but it came pretty close. I cut off a portion of another section to finish this side, and used the rest for the other side of the fence. These are attached with galvanized finish nails. Now is time to add the trim. This will give the fence a more finished look and help hide edges and seams. I started with the top and bottom, then the outer sides. In order to hide the lattice seam, I put a trim board over it and added a matching trim board on the other side for symmetry. A bit of the lattice was sticking above the frame, so I ran a sawzall across the top to make it flush. A top plate 2x6 went on top of all that to finish the look. I didn't think of it at the time, but I should have screwed it from the underside instead of from the top. Not a big deal, just something I'll have to consider for future projects. For the other top plate, I made a notch to fit nicely around the vertical post. And that was it for the fence. The last part to construct was the gate. It's a pretty basic gate, nothing too flashy. Just a few boards laid next to each other, connected with one board across the top, one across the bottom, and one diagonal between the two. This is all screwed together with exterior rated screws. Mounting was a little tricky, only because I wanted all my lines to match up. I shimmed it up so the top of the gate was level with the top of the fence. The gate is twice as thick where the horizontal boards are, so that's where I attach the hinges. I added a very simple latch for opening and closing the gate. One of the hinges was spring-loaded, so with a few clicks of the spring, the door would now shut on its own. It closes kind of nicely, and doesn't just slam shut. That was the end of day one, and the fence and gate were fully functional. We were about a week away from going to get Hansel, and we just wanted to have it working before bringing him home. The trim boards were kind of rough. Not sure why they're so much different than the other lumber, but I gave them a good pass with the orbital sander to smooth them out. I also smoothed out any other surfaces and edges that needed sanding. This new fence makes the dog run look great. It's so much easier just opening the gate and letting the boys run through. Before, we'd have to pick Doofie up every time to get him in or out of the dog run. Now, the original plan was to stain this the same color as the gate at the other end of the dog run. However, right when we were going to stain, we noticed that the little guy, who's teething at the moment, had gnawed on some of the lattice. Not a big deal, but we just don't want him to get sick from the stain. And if I'm going to replace parts after this phase is over, I'd rather wait and stain it then. Again, this is redwood, so it'll be fine in the elements for a while. After living with this new fence and gate, there were a few little things we added to make it a bit better. First thing is a second latch to keep the gate open. Next is a simple command hook to hold leashes or harnesses. And lastly is a few extra lights to light up the dark corners at night. There's a floodlight that senses motion, but you have to walk partway in before it turns on. This is just some extra light until the motion light is tripped. This was a great improvement to the dog run. These boys are getting along great. It's non-stop playtime here at our house. I hope you like dogs because you're going to be seeing a lot more of these little rascals in the future. Okay, that's it for now. See ya. What do you think, Doof?
Hey, Pups.